This video is brought to you by Gemmer.com, a place where you can buy, sell, and trade collectibles of all kinds, uniquely for comic book fans and just lovers of pop culture in general. So go check it out, Gemmer.com, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Hey guys, it's Tim again for the Spotlight, the show where I pose an interesting question or just a general interesting idea and have you guys take it from there in the comments. So, following the trend from last week, this week is also going to be a Star Wars related topic. And this one is going to be whether or not Anakin truly is the chosen one, and if so, did he follow the prophecy? Now, you can feel free to disagree with me, but I'm going to posit that he is in fact the chosen one, and he in fact did exactly what he was supposed to do. And I'm going to look at this from two different perspectives. The first is going to be based off of the vague idea of the prophecy that the movies themselves gave us. And that one basically boils down to someone will be born who is the chosen one, who has a high connection with the Force or a high midichlorian count, however you want to look at it. And that person will bring balance to the Force. And then all that tacked on stuff Obi-Wan said when he was arguing with Anakin on that lava planet. And while Obi-Wan was upset that Anakin joined the dark side, at the same time, he did bring balance to the Force by doing that. Keep in mind, there is an entire council of Jedi during the Age of the Republic, and they were training future generations of Jedi, the younglings, throughout the entirety of their run. Meanwhile, there were about 2.5 Sith. Yeah, the Force was pretty unbalanced in favor of the light side during the Age of the Republic, and after Anakin's coup, there were 2 members of the light side and 2 members of the dark side at pretty much any point after that we know of that's not outside of the main movies. However, like I said, I'm going to be looking at this from 2 perspectives, and the other one is based off of the prophecy that I looked up, which goes like this. First comes the day, then comes the night. After the darkness shines through the light. The difference, they say, is only made right by resolving of gray through the refined Jedi sight. And basically that boils down to what we already know from the movies. First, the Jedi, the light side, were ruling over the galaxy. Then the Sith, the Empire, ruled over the galaxy. Then after that, the light side came through again through Luke. However, this time it was different because now Luke was operating under shades of gray, using his anger to help him win the fight, but not giving into it that he would kill someone and not give them a second chance. So, where does Anakin play into this? Well, we already know that he caused the transition between the light ruling and the dark ruling, and by killing the Emperor, he also made the transition between the dark ruling and the light ruling, since he died after that as well. But the shades of gray through refined Jedi sight seems to refer to Luke, since he's the one who brought the Jedi Order out of the Empire with this new perspective from living under the Empire's rule, not knowing anything about the Jedi. But I posit that Luke is only this way because Anakin trained him to be this way. What if every action that Anakin, aka Vader, took in the original trilogy was solely done just so that he could train Luke to have the shades of gray that he needed? And this expands to the old trilogy as well. See, we already know that Anakin was not content with how the Jedi were running things. But they were set in their ways and they weren't going to listen to Anakin, and they wouldn't even give him master status to allow him to be on the same footing as them to show his idea of what they needed to be. So in order to move anything forward with the Force, the only thing he would be able to do would be to wipe the slate entirely clean. But he would also need the perspective of the dark side to know exactly what worked there and what worked from the Jedi side. So he goes over to the dark side and kills off the Jedi solely so that he can gain the perspective he needs to make the Force what it needs to be. Then years later, after gaining that perspective, he passes on that knowledge to Luke, solely so that the Emperor doesn't become suspicious of him, so that he doesn't realize what he's doing so that he can be more successful. Keep in mind, in all of their confrontations, when Vader has Luke dead to rights, he basically lets him go. When they meet each other on the Death Star initially, he could have very easily just used the Force to stop the ship, but he lets it leave so that Luke can continue forward. And then when they fight each other on Vespin, he makes the offer to Luke to join the dark side. He tempts him with the dark side to see what Luke will do with that from his previous teaching, but at the same time showing him what the power is by thoroughly kicking his ass. And then when Luke refuses, he just lets him go. I mean, it was established in that movie that powerful Force users can lift starships. I'm pretty sure he could have lifted like a 110-pound kid up. And then their final confrontation on the second Death Star, he sees Luke give in to his anger and use that to defeat him. But then he sees that Luke is not willing to kill him and give him a second chance. That's when Vader does his action and takes out the Emperor, fully wiping out the slate. He had already killed Obi-Wan. Yoda had died earlier in the movie. He was a powerful presence in the Force. We can assume that Vader could sense that. And then he kills the Emperor, and finally he himself dies. Now it's just Luke left with the shades of gray that Anakin refined through his Jedi sight. That's why the 3 Force ghosts show up to Luke at the end. They're his 3 teachers. Obi-Wan introduced him to the Force, Yoda showed him its power, Anakin showed him how to use it for both sides but still remaining pure. Now keep in mind this is all speculation, and I'm sure that there's plenty of evidence pointing towards him not being the Chosen One or going against the prophecy or something like that. This is just my own perspective, but what do you guys think about Anakin and the prophecy? Well, let me know in the comments, and until next time, this has been Tim from the Spotlight, signing out.